Myers Life here. I'm going to talk about the 7 universal laws. Let it be easy.
You about that money, man, money, man. You don't see it coming, man, coming, man. You don't know your soul is up for auction, changing hands so often. Thought we got him back and then we lost him. You about that money, man, money, man. You don't see it coming, man, coming, man. You don't know your soul is up for auction, changing hands so often. Thought we got him back and then we lost him.
Hey, so let's jump right in. So, I want to talk on a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Many of you are familiar with the law of attraction. You know, the movie The Secret is out there circulating. There's a lot of motivational speakers, a lot of people that channel information regarding the law of attraction. And I just want to speak on it because it's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, and it has definitely impacted my life in a positive way. So, with that being said, there are 7 universal laws or principles that are out there that's been floating around for centuries. Okay, going back to the Byzantine Empire is where a lot of this information was first documented within our human consciousness. So I'm just going to move forward and go through these principles because I think it's good to discuss these things, have a dialogue, comment. Tell me what you think about these principles, about these laws. Do you see these things happening in your life? So the first one is mentalism. Now this is near and dear to my heart as a therapist and business psychologist. I work with the mind all day. So I see it all day, how people's thoughts and beliefs impact their lives and their behaviors, right? So the principle of mentalism states that the all is mind, the universe is mental. Let that sink in. The all is mind, the universe is mental. So the principle of mentalism really stresses that on the most foundational level, that everything in the universe is mental. It all starts with a thought and with a belief. And if you look at our previous video, God's individual thoughts, I really feel like that really hits home on this. Before there was a light, in Genesis in the Bible, if you think about Genesis in the first few sentences of the Bible, it states, God made a thought and he thought about light and then it was light. So it all starts from what the belief is, what that thought is, what that understanding is. So when we have certain thoughts, it creates everything. Everything that you're living in this moment right now is based upon a thought. At some point, your mom and dad had a thought that they liked each other, and then here you are. So mentalism, that's the first principle, is that the universe draws on what we think, and our thoughts dictate our actions going forward. And think about intuition too, because there's a lot of power in reason and intelligence, and that impacts our impulsivity and our choices. So everything in the universe is mental, right? Principle number 2, the principle of correspondence. Now, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as without, so within. The principle of correspondence. Let me read it again. As above, so below, as within, so without, as without, so within. So, we're reflections of one another. We're mirrors of one another. The people and situations around you are a reflection of what's going on the inside of you. And that's what's at the heart of this principle is that, yeah, between the mental and physical and spiritual planes, they all work together to create what you experience in the here and now. So that's really what's at the core of that is that everything kind of reflects and, comes from within. And the outside impacts what's within you. So it kind of plays off one another. What are your thoughts about that? You know, paying attention to gut feelings can help you make more sense of links between your everyday experiences and the higher spiritual plane because that's deep within your gut. So how is that a reflection of what's going on around you in your everyday life? And that's really what the principle of correspondence is. It's also linked to the principle and thought of repeating patterns. So you ever wonder why you attract the same person over and over again, or the same type of situations keep happening to you? It's really that idea of correspondence. It's a reminder to really consider the repeating themes in your life and to reflect on the interconnected nature of your mental, physical, and spiritual world. So really think about that. If you're having that experience where certain things are happening over and over again, it's something that you need to address within you because it keeps manifesting on the outside. So what's going on? All right. So the third principle is that of vibration. All right. So vibration is a rapid back and forth movement, right? So this principle states nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So you're very familiar that we vibrate. We're on certain frequency patterns at all times. Our emotions emit certain energetic brainwave patterns and so forth energetically from our bodies. If you're feeling guilty and shame and despair and anxiety, you're vibrating really low. 25, so forth. The brain wave is low, the frequency, the vibration, right? So, but when we're feeling good, we're moving, we're energetic, we're able to, create, so really there's a lot to vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. And one thing that's constant is change. And if you feel this way today, you won't feel like that tomorrow. So just hang in there because it will pass. All right. All right. So the next principle is that of polarity. So this is so relevant to what we're dealing with right now. If you turn on the TV, you're going to see a bunch of polarity. All right. And polarity states everything is dual. Everything has poles and everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truth are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So everything has an opposite end to it, right? So there's always two ends of a stick. It could be all, there's a good end, a bad step, a bad end, good and evil, happy, sad, up, down, all of it there's ends to everything. So there's always two sides to every story, right? So it's important to understand that where our peace lies is in the middle when we have balance. It's always the yin and yang. Where's your balance in all of this? You turn on the TV. Do you get triggered? Are you swooped into all the confusion and the chaos that's before you? And do you look at that person is all bad or this situation is all bad? Because within that, when you get sucked in, you're pulled into a place of judgment and you're focusing in on one end of the stick. But really, there's always two ends of the stick. So by being sucked into the duality, it makes it hard for you to find your peace. It makes it hard for you to vibrate at a frequency of love and peace. Because that's how you pull yourself out of this tug of war that our society, that our world is in. I'm not even going to say US. I'm going to say the world is in. this place of kind of turmoil, so to speak. But when you get sucked into that and you're focusing on this end of the stick or that end of the stick, it takes your peace, So really, you got to find yourself back into the middle where you can be assertive, where you can be present, where you can be in the here and now, and really focus in on those concepts of love and empathy and compassion and openness and abundance. Because if you get swooped into the all bad, and that end of the stick, it's going to be very hard for you to create and to manifest your desires. So the principle of duality is, polarity, duality. It's important to think of these things. We should use our willpower to align ourselves with the pole that is more helpful in our given situations. All right. Rhythm, the principle of rhythm. Now, who loves music? I do. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. All things rise and fall. When I hear this, I think of the ocean and the planet, and everything has a natural kind of balance and rhythm with nature. That's why it's so important to go outside right now and to really connect with the earth, because all this chaos and the duality and the polarity can really throw your whole body out of whack, make it hard to sleep and eat and all these things. So, just know that the principle of rhythm is about everything going through cycles. We move from birth to death, and we're always in motion, and our bodies, there's always an ebb and flow. And like a pendulum, think about a pendulum. When one thing swings the other way, it's going to swing back the other. That's why I mentioned, if you're feeling a certain way, just know that there's a rhythm to things and that it's going to swing back that other way. And you just got to catch a ride so that you can find yourself back to that place of balance a lot quicker. So the principle of rhythm can help you with mindfulness practices that support your manifestation work. In particular, it stresses that nothing is permanent, whether it is good or bad. All that you have is the present moment. Fully immersing yourself in each part of your cycle will ensure that you learn and experience the most you possibly can. So that's what the principle of rhythm is about. All right. And think about rhythm is how we learn too, right? Like repetition. And one thing about rhythm and music and song, there's a lot of repetition. It cycles back and forth. And we learn from this. All right. Number 6 is the principle of cause and effect. There's always consequences. Revenge, we think, oh yeah, I'm going to get them for doing what they did, But reality is, there's always a cause and effect. So this principle states, every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Causality, as simple as it is. So the principle prompts you to think about the far-reaching impacts of your choices. It also encourages you to address the things that are influencing you for good or for ill. So if you're working on creating a richer, more positive inner world, it will instigate positive changes on the outside. So if you're working on in here, you've got to work on yourself. If you're in a relationship and things aren't going right, you need to work on yourself. You really do, because that's impacting what's going on the outside. You're not focused in on here enough, on you, on the inside of you, on your spirituality, on your thought life, on your physical body. You're not focused on those things. You're focused on what they're doing. And it's a mess. And that's because what's inside needs to be worked on, okay? So causality, cause and effect, right? And then lastly is the principle of gender, okay? So there's a masculine and a feminine, right? Gender is everything. That's what this principle states. Everything has its masculine and feminine aspects. So this is the last of it. We have to think about that. Like, even as a female, I have masculine traits. Most men have feminine traits. So it's all about balancing that out. And you need a little bit of both. That there's a reason why there's man and woman, and that, the rib was taken from Adam and woman, whatever your beliefs are, there's man and there's woman. And there's a reason why there's two different, very distinctive energies within our structure of our system here on Earth. And, this principle has less to do with biological sex than it has to do with the notion of different masculine and feminine energies. So, in general terms, the former is thought to be assertive, exploratory, transformative, while, more feminine aspects are more reflective, nourishing, protective in those ways. So, it's just something to think about, like masculine and feminine energies. Are they in balance for you? Do you really have a balance of that? I know you hear Matthew in the background. Do you have a balance of that? Because gender is a part of our world for a reason. And I think a lot of what's happening now is those feminine traits are coming back into the forefront of our realities, of our situations right now. And the masculine traits are very noticeable in a lot of aspects. So we can see it. We can see it playing out right before our eyes. And an excess of either can lower our vibrational frequency. So, for example, with too much masculine energy comes recklessness and a loss of perspective. And then on the other hand, too much feminine energy may relate to inaction and stagnation. So we really need both to keep the boat going. And, it's a part of our world. So these are the 7 universal laws. And my last point that I want to make in speaking about all these principles is that, it can be easy. Life doesn't have to be so hard. We make it so hard because of our mental minds, right? We make it hard. Like, I have to work really hard to get to this point, and I have to do this and suffer and sacrifice and give, and there's scarcity and lack, and this is what I have to do to get where I need to go. It doesn't have to be that. What it means is you work on the inside, you balance your mind, your body, your spirit, you balance that part of you out, and what is on the outside of you will match what's on the inside. And you'll have a balance of those things. You'll have the right person to love. You'll have the right people showing you empathy, and you'll be able to show empathy back. You'll be able to have that compassion in your life, that openness to new things, that enthusiasm, and that abundance. And it doesn't have to be so hard if you do the work on the inside. Our bodies are naturally wired to fight sickness, to fight viruses, to fight illness. But if we don't work on this and this, it's going to be very hard to overcome all these things on the outside. That's why everything is so chaotic right now in our world, is because we as humans need to work on our inside, work on our spirits, on our souls, on our thought life, so that we can be healthier on the inside, and then everything on the outside will correspond to reflect those things that we all desire. It can be easy. It doesn't have to be as hard as it has been. It can be easy. It can be easy. It can be easier. Say it with me. It can be easier. Please. I love you. Thank you. If you're needing support, if you're in a place where you're starting to wake up to a lot of things, if things around you are not quite right, if things aren't like what they seem to you anymore, and you're really like, I can't even buy into this anymore, and you're waking up and you're learning new things spiritually and evolving and feeling yourself grow, and the things that used to make you angry don't do so anymore. If you're in this place and you need some support, please reach out to Myers Life. We love what we do. It's my passion. I've devoted my everything and all to this, and I'm here to connect with you. So if you're looking for that added layer of support, please reach out, comment in the videos, we'll respond. We're here. Mars Life. Check out the merch too.
I'm alive, 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine, 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna see, then come along with me, that's right. And if you want a good tomorrow, it's pretty simple, gotta find a way to follow. And if you do, you have
The Myers helped me face the issues that were tearing my relationship apart. They provided a safe environment to work through those difficult issues associated with our children, work, finances, trust, and intimacy. I feel I achieved a closeness and a renewed commitment to my relationship. I highly encourage couples to face their challenges and give the Myers a call.
We want to thank the Myers for all of their support. We were on the brink of a divorce.
We just could not communicate. We would have the same argument over and over again.
But after a great deal of reflection, we actually enjoy being around each other again. You taught us skills that have helped us manage conflict.
Yeah, we had a great spiritual conversation with a couple that had vested interest in helping us find our peace.
As a startup entrepreneur, I have been able to leverage the Myers coaching. First of all, they are a sounding board for my personal anxieties as I develop and fine-tune my leadership. I would get so irritated. I now have a plan to manage my anger and a support system that holds me accountable. They are non-judgmental people with tremendous skill and talent, an asset for anyone trying to develop professionally.